Hi, I'm Max.
And I'm Skylar.
Recently, we decided to start watching Bob's Burgers to see what it was all about.
And it didn't take us long to become completely obsessed with the show.
But one of the things we love the most about the show is the brilliant end credit sequences.
Which is why we created this podcast.
Each week, we're going episode by episode to talk about the elaborate end credits.
We're excited to have you join us right here on Bob's Credits.
We'll make sure the Bob's Burgers end credits get the credit they're due.
All right!
Chip chipperoo, everyone.
Welcome back, y'all. Still have no idea how to start a podcast.
We're going to figure it out eventually.
But yet, here we are.
21 episodes in? 20? I don't know. See, I don't even know what number episode we're on. Ooh, I think it's 119 episodes in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Hi,
We're
y'all.
learning. We're going to figure this out. No problem. We're going to learn not to talk over each other.
But in the meantime,
let's talk a little Bob's Burgers.
let's do it. How about some puns?
Oh, I happen to have some puns, Skylar.
Let's do it. Oh, I'm just struggling. I feel like I'm just treading water, trying not to go under.
We're going to make it through this, I think. And we're going to do it by playing a little Bob pun or Max pun, which we thrive.
Yeah,
when we're playing that game. It's an icebreaker. It's like a warm-up.
I was about to say something similar. It's like when you go right now, I feel like I just walked into a huge room of strangers, like a party I don't want to be at.
Ouch. I'm hurt. So is Biscuit.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Just let me finish.
Okay.
And then you walk over to the table where the food is and you finally have something to do with your hands. And you're like, okay, I can pretend to be a normal human if I have something to do.
Yeah, I live by the chips and dip at parties. But
you do.
I mean, part of that has to do with my social anxiety, but most of it has to do with chips and dip.
To be fair, everyone likes chips and dip, but Max really loves chips and dip.
I could eat chips and dip forever. Like
He loves it.
I don't fill up, and I don't get sick of it.
Yes, I
don't know what it is. So this week we are doing, any guesses?
Classic burgers.
No, we were doing Store Next Door.
Okay,
Sorry.
It's okay.
Are you ready for your first pun?
Yes.
Your first pun is, pelvis has left the building. Hip replacements.
Hysterical. Max?
Yes.
Love it. Why don't they hire you?
Just Bob's Burgers, hire me as your full-time punster. I'm very expensive.
You would do it for like a week and be like, I want to work for myself.
They're always bothering me, and I want to do it on my own time.
They always want me to do my work.
Yeah, I want to do it last minute before the episode has to be published, like hours before it has to be published on a Sunday. Please, just finish editing. Your next pun is, the Rare Itch Project, Dermatology.
Bob's?
Yes. Okay, good start, good start. Your next pun is, the Wizard of Gauze, new and used bandages.
Ew. Why is it new and used?
I don't know. Why not?
Max.
Bob's.
I don't understand. Is that, I feel like the new and used has to do on a Wizard of Oz.
I don't understand why they're used.
Okay.
And your final pun is, get your ducks in a row, shooting gallery.
Bob's.
Max.
Really?
Yes.
It's tragic. Sad.
Why sad?
Are you going to shoot the ducks?
They're like, it's like a shooting gallery. They're not actual ducks. It's like, you know, they go by, they're like little wooden targets.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not actually like bringing ducks in there.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay. Although
I do
maybe that way Bob can work out a partnership and start serving some kind of duck burger.
That's true.
The Duck U burger.
I think it's very clear that I grew up in Texas.
The Get Ducked burger.
And you grew up in California.
That's true.
How we reacted to that. All right. So how about some Skylar Sides, the fun facts before the fun facts?
Dish it, girl.
Today, I'm not necessarily doing a fun fact. I'm doing a very mini fan theory that I thought y'all would like. I was recently chatting with one of our followers on Instagram, Katie. Hi, Katie. I loved our chat.
Hello, Katie.
And she came to me with a theory that I absolutely loved. She said, Louise is such an old lady name. I think that because Louise and Bob have such a special relationship that they named Louise after Bob's mother. Now, just recently we found out that this can't be true because Bob's mother's name is Lily. But it got me thinking that I do think that the L represents the L in Lily. That in some ways Louise could kind of be named after Lily.
That makes sense to me.
2 L names?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. L, Linda, 2. I don't know.
Linda wasn't Linda before she met Bob. She changed it for Bob.
Yeah, he's
to
like,
honor his mother.
Can you imagine if you're on a first date and you're like, how do you feel about a name change? I just really love my mother.
Oof.
Run.
Oof. Yeah.
Run.
That's like Mr. Frond would do that.
Oh my gosh. Although he's not particularly nice to his mother, as we'll see in this episode.
True. Yeah. Okay. We'll get into the
Yes.
Frond, Mama Frond and Philip Frond relationship.
Yikes.
Should we get into this episode then?
Let's do it because I personally LOVE'd it.
Oh, okay. Can we have the title and synopsis for Season 7, Episode 19, please?
The title is Thelma and Louise, except Thelma is Linda.
One of the best titles ever.
Love this title. And weren't we all wondering, they parody movies. Thelma and Louise is one of the most classic, iconic movies. When are they going to parody it? So this is very exciting. Here is the synopsis. Linda busts Louise out of in-school suspension to reward her for sticking up for the underdog, but Mr. Frond is on to them, and the stakes are high. Linda could lose her precious bake sale if he finds out the truth. Meanwhile, there's a rush of bicyclists. That's such a hard word. Meanwhile, there's a rush of bicyclists.
It's lots of S's, or like cyclists.
Meanwhile, there's a rush of bicyclists at the restaurant. Bob begrudgingly lets Teddy take over for Linda.
This episode came out on April 30th, 2017. It was written by John Schrader and directed by Brian Lo Schiavo.
Random question for you.
Uh-huh.
Does 2017 seem recent or far to you?
It seems far now to me. Like when we were talking last week's episode.
Uh-huh.
And I was talking about Bob's like CD player and stuff like that, how he had that CD player in 2017. I was like, that's a very ancient thing to have in 2017. But I was like, 2017 is ancient now. Because
it feels like yesterday.
It does feel like yesterday.
And then I'm like, oh, that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's been like a lifetime almost.
Yeah. And then when I look back to what I was doing in 2017, I'm like, it is a lifetime ago. I was still working at a job I hated. I wasn't sober yet. We had just moved in together. So I'm like, oh, okay, lifetime ago.
It was. Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, let's talk about this episode because I loved it.
I love it too. Do you want to go A story, B story, A to B, B to
Let's
A?
go right into A because this is a huge Linda and Louise episode. Last week, we finally got to see the Bob and Jean matchup that we've been waiting for. And this is the exact inverse of that. Louise and Linda don't have as natural of a bond as Bob and Louise. So this episode is so important. And I would like to say that this episode could maybe be a follow-up to Mother-Daughter Laser Razor, which I don't think I like that episode that much, but Linda's just forcing this relationship on them, and I feel like it would make me step back. So now, how many years later? I mean, I know time doesn't move, blah, 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 but this is real bonding. This is a beautiful episode between these two.
I agree, and I love that, like, Louise is quote-unquote technically in trouble, but Linda knows that she did the right thing. Like, and it's not fair that she's being punished for doing something kind for Pocket-sized Rudy, by the way, who we haven't seen since we first met regular-sized Rudy.
Oh my gosh, that went right over my head, just like the camera.
Yeah, for the joke. But it's nice to see pocket-sized Rudy back. But I feel bad for pocket-sized Rudy getting picked on because he's pocket-sized.
I mean, I agree. I was a pocket-sized person when I was in school. And I think I've told this story before, but like the kids wouldn't stop picking me up because I was so tiny. And I fucking lost it.
Oh,
I was like,
you snapped.
Stop picking me up. There's a whole like lecture about how we're not picking Skylar up anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you really were pocket sized.
Yeah. Well, because I went to Montessori school, it was first, second, and third grade in one classroom. So I was
so you had
younger.
like Zeke's coming up to you and being like, I'm going to pick you up, girl.
Well, no.
I'm going to pick you up and toss you over there, my buddy girl.
They were how Jeju feels about Zeke wrestling with him is how I felt about these two tall girls.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway. So I'm so sorry I interrupted. What we were talking about is that you love that Linda's like, you don't need to be in trouble. You did something brave and heroic. But because of Mr. Fran's rules, I feel like this is a metaphor for so much more in our world.
Yeah. And then they get to go off and play hooky a little bit. And we get to see a little bit more into Mr. Fran's life with his mom. This is the first appearance of his mother.
Doesn't make me feel any less, not pity, but kind of like, oh, your life, man. Yeah,
there's one line that made me crack up. His mom says to him, are you joyless, Philip?
And he goes, do we have to discuss that again? And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you can kind of see why Mr. Fran is the way he is in this. But I love that they pull this fast one on him. He can't prove it's there's a little bit, it's a Thelma and Louise episode, but there's a little bit of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yes.
In here, and that she's got to get back somewhere before he gets back there. And
yes, I love that. And they have a nice day together. They get ice cream.
Linda almost gets cotton candy. They get to use Speedo Guy as a diversion.
Speedo Guy is spinning.
Yeah.
He is just spinning. I do love that cut, that very comedically timed cut, where Linda's like, don't worry, like, what? Is there going to be a rush in the restaurant? Cut to a rush in the restaurant.
Or B story, yes, where all the cyclists start appearing and Bob's panicking, and Bob, so stubborn. Yes. He could ask Teddy from the get-go to help him. He already knows he's going to be overwhelmed, but he waits until he's absolutely slammed.
It would have behooved him to have Teddy start earlier.
Yes, and Teddy's been waiting for this moment his entire life.
He is ready.
Or at least for as long as he's known the Belchers.
He puts on Linda's apron.
He knew exactly where it was, ready to go.
Actually, there is a fan theory that Teddy has a crush on Linda. But that's not the fan theory I'm talking about. Based on that, there's another fan theory that it's not Linda who Teddy has a crush on. It's Bob. And so this...
Why not both?
This metaphor of stepping in and putting Linda's apron on leans that way. I personally feel that Teddy has a family crush. It's more of an emotional need to feel part of a family unit. That is my theory.
Yeah, and I just want to say I relate to all of those. I have a family crush on the Belchers, and I have a crush on Linda, and I have a crush on Bob.
I knew you had a crush on Bob. I didn't know about Linda.
We've established that he's my soulmate.
The Bob crush is more like you want to be friends with him. A little bit of both?
A little bit of both, yeah, sure.
But I think if you had to choose, like, you desperately want to go get a beer with Bob.
Yeah, I would like to just, like, hang out with Bob, sure. Yeah.
Okay, and then what is it about Linda? What do you crush on?
I kind of the same things I crush on you about. I like someone who can spontaneously break into song about things that she's doing.
She's a joy maker.
Yeah.
She doesn't take life too seriously, which is just a breath of fresh air sometimes.
Sure. Yeah. As long as she doesn't do the ngang, 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 ngang noise.
I just died. That's why I'm silent.
I do want to say, I don't have really any fun facts. This is not a fun fact. It's just a fact. It's kind of a nice fact.
Oh, it's a nice fact.
A nice, sad fact. But one of the cyclists who...
It's an unfun fact.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's like, you'll get it.
It's sad. Okay.
It's sad but sweet.
Okay.
Bittersweet, I guess.
Okay,
fact. One of the cyclists who visits the restaurant is a character of Dave Creek. For those that don't know, Dave Creek was a character designer on the show who passed away in January of 2021 in a skydiving accident. But this
was created this was 2017.
Yeah, so he was just, they did a character design because he's one of the character designers, so it's a character of him. But
wow, and who is he?
He's one of the cyclists. I don't know which cyclist was created.
And he was
his form,
like a thrill seeker.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's really, really sad.
Yeah. But that's kind of like a nice tribute long before it even happened. It's just nice that he's like kind of gets to live on in that.
Yeah.
In this show. Segue.
Do you need a segue?
I need a segue.
It's okay. Life and death can coexist.
You're right.
The sad and the happy. Right. It's okay.
Back to the B story. Any other thoughts?
I mean, we got to talk more about Teddy and Bob, and I really liked this matchup. Sometimes I find I think in season 12, they go on a car trip together to get a piece of equipment or something, and I found it completely annoying. I found Bob completely rude. It wasn't enjoyable to me. This dynamic was hysterical. Teddy is a little too much. Bob is a little too harsh with Teddy. The jalapenos in the eyes, I find that very relatable. I just loved it.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the customers overall were satisfied with the food they received and the service and whatnot? Or do you think it got Teddy mixed up too many things? Or like someone got Teddy's finger burger that he was poking at?
I just had a phone call with a friend who told me something about a restaurant that makes a jalapeno finger. Like, I think that happens in restaurants all the time. I was more okay with that than some of the things I've seen on Bob's Burgers, but I might be in the minority, I do think everyone was satisfied. I think when you go into a restaurant in a huge group like that, you kind of know it's going to be chaotic because all the orders are going in at the same time. You're all friendly, so you can sort your burgers out pretty easily. I think the food quality is really good, and if I've just ridden that much, I just want a really good burger, I would be charmed by this dynamic. So I think it worked out okay. I think they made bank.
I think so too. This is like the beef boom.
It's bigger
Bob.
than beef boom.
Yeah, that's true.
What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Like it's like you said, I don't think it's uncommon at restaurants for maybe a finger or two to get in some food you're eating.
I think there's much worse things.
100%. I would not mind a little finger pushing my jalapeno back on the burger when you consider the other things that could happen to your food.
Yes.
Do we want to spend any time on just like the little runner that is connected to the A story with Gene and Tina?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
They're so sweet. They're checking on their imprisoned sister, their interaction, just the fact that they found each other in the hall and were like, we should probably go check on our sister because we've heard this rumor, is so sweet. And then their interactions, the notes that they send are hysterical. How it pays off with how Louise uses it as her essay is very satisfying to the plot. Their interaction with Mr. Bronca is perfection. Love Zeke and Jimmy Jr. helping him out. I loved it.
What about fantastic Miss Schnurr episode?
Yes.
What about Zeke and Miss Schnurr when they're outside in the hallway and Miss Schnurr tells them to get away from the door, and then Zeke turns around and goes, "Sup, girl?" She goes, "Sup."
Sup, Zeke.
Sup, Zeke.
it gave us a whole backstory with 2 lines. Like, clearly they do this every day. Clearly he's like the only student she can kind of tolerate. I loved it.
Me too. It's so great Zeke moment, great Miss Schnur moment. Made me love both of them even more than I already do.
Agreed. There's one last thing I want to discuss before we move on to the rest of your fun facts and into the credits. Linda, as a cover, has to tell, when they're at the wharf, has to tell Mr. Front that she's considering getting face paint. When Linda walks in to pick up Louise, and she has had to follow through on her plan, and she walks through that classroom door with a kitty cat little mouth, I cackled out loud.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's so funny. And she's not shy about it. She's like, yeah.
She's going to talk about it in this last moment before the end credits.
I can't wait.
Should we get into them?
I'm happy to. I'm like, I cannot wait to rewatch this moment.
Did we learn our lesson today?
We sure did, Mom.
Wait, what was that? Did you just wink at each other?
Yeah, cats wink. And some people wink at their cat moms. And other people leave their moms in cars on hot days with all the windows rolled up.
Oh my God, Mother!
I've had the time of my life.
All right, great last moment. And we hear this music coming in that we are all familiar with, or you should be familiar with it. And what happens in the end credits?
The girls are prepping the burger, classic kitchen scene. Bob's cooking, scratched his butt, and Teddy is right in that window. And his eyes are still swollen from the jalapenos. And he is on a high. And he is showing everyone how happy he is.
Yeah, that he's had the time of his life, right?
And he certainly did.
I just want to point out that long time ago, way back when I was doing song chipperoos to start these episodes of our podcast, I did a chip chipperoo for I've Had the Time of My Life. And we went back and forth and said, did they ever like do a parody of that song or like that moment in Dirty Dancing? It feels like they would have. And we're like, I don't think so. Here it is, right here.
Gosh, we're so annoying.
The end credits specific, or an end credits podcast. Very disappointing.
But you're confirming it now. It might be 2 years later, but it's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. I want to hear more of Teddy singing I've Had the Time of My Life, though.
Me too. And within the categories, these weird categories we've created about what makes iconic Bob's Burgers end credits, Teddy singing a classic song, it's up there. It's up there.
Yes, 100%. I will listen to Teddy sing absolutely anything.
Though I never felt this way before, yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you. I had the time of my life.
Teddy, when he's singing, and then he goes, and I owe it all to you, he points through the window at Bob.
Very dramatically.
Very dramatically, as Linda kind of makes her appearance in the window to get the burger that Louise has placed there. And when Bob gets pointed to, Bob takes that as his turn to chime in the song, and he comes in full head voice to sing with Teddy.
I am so happy that Bob decides to join in on the fun.
I agree, and anyone who listens to this song or hears this song and knows Dirty Dancing immediately knows, like, is there a lift coming? There's got to be a lift coming. Teddy's in the window, but he disappears, and we already know what's going to happen. Or can guess.
The pause between him disappearing and him, like, they pause long enough that you kind of have that anticipation that's really fun. Like, is it going to happen?
Yeah.
And I've searched through every open door till I found the truth.
Teddy comes running in from the right side of the screen.
Oh, sorry. Finish that.
He does the jump, and Bob does the lift, and Bob can lift Teddy over his head, no problem. Which is like, what, Bob, where have you been hiding this superhuman strength?
Well, that leads me to my next question. Is Teddy just sitting there eating a burger in reality? But in his head, this is what's happening?
This is a fantasy, is what you're saying.
Is it? I don't know.
I think it's a fantasy.
No, I'm sorry. You can't do that lift.
No.
And
You can't lift Teddy over your head like that. I'm sorry, Teddy.
Like on the first try,
This is
Bob's not even sweating.
Let me tell you why it's a fantasy.
Okay.
In the typical and reality and kitchen sequence, Gene walks in from the right side of the screen in his burger
It's true.
costume. In this one, this is the only time we ever see him walk in from the left side of the screen. Something's not right.
Something's
that's
off.
showing us there's a glitch in the Matrix.
Yes.
This
Another
is a Teddy
glitch.
fantasy.
On my first watch of these end credits, I was very, very, very upset that Linda didn't have her cat makeup face paint on. But if this is Teddy's fantasy and maybe she hasn't made it back from the school yet or whatever.
Yeah, he doesn't know about it.
He doesn't know about it.
Yeah. I think this is a Teddy fantasy.
And boy, it's a good one.
It is a phenomenal fantasy. I have no low lights in this. Do you have a low light in this?
I don't have a low light. It was going to be Linda's makeup, but I have to kick that off the table.
After we've over dissected what's actually happening here.
Yeah. I just want to, before we score these, it should not influence your score, but I just want to leave you with an image. Can you imagine 3 hours after this day ends, I just kind of see Teddy asleep in his bed with his beanie still on, being humming never felt this way before. I just see him singing to himself.
He's just dreaming.
Yeah.
I love it. We score on a scale of 1 to 10 H's at the end of Tina's Do you want to do same time?
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 10. It's you always know if we're going to do it at the same time that it's a 10.
Let's do it next. Let's do the counting next time.
Okay.
And just be 3.
I don't think we've ever given one a 3.
We love this show too much.
I know.
We're too nice or something.
Yes. I mean, come on. One, the song, iconic song. Then to have Teddy and Bob doing a duet. No, just to have Teddy sing in it, and then to have Bob join in his head voice. And then to do the lifts. Whether it's real or not.
Who cares?
100% 10. End credits. No question.
If you had to do the Dirty Dancing lift and you had to pick 2 characters from the Bob's universe, Bob and Teddy, great choice.
This is more iconic than Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey. This is more iconic than Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone.
They do the lift?
They do the lift in, what was that movie they were in? Not
La La Land.
No, the one before that they were in with Steve
Crazy
Carell.
Stupid Love or something.
There you go. Yeah, they do the lift.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
It's how he gets the women. He's he tells them that he can do the lift with them, and he gets them to do it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm not going to do it with you, and then later she does it with him. Anyway,
I can't tell if it's cheesy or funny.
Anyway, that's the whole plot to Crazy Stupid Love. Thank you for coming to Max's movie recaps
rom-com
podcast. These have been the end credits to Thelma and Louise, except Thelma is Linda.
Love it.
Thank you everyone for listening. Go follow us on social media, Bob's Credits, wherever you social media. And what else? What else do we want to send people to? Go check out Patreon, patreon.com/Bob's Credits.
We have some live events, and by live events, we mean wherever you are in the country on Zoom. Go check those out. And for now, I'm just going to say, stay dirty.
Oh, I like that.
Dancing.
Okay, Skylar and I are going to practice our dirty dancing lift for the rest of the day.
We can't because your back can't handle that.
I know, but I'm willing to risk it all.
Just like Bob.
Yeah.